My watch is too big for my wrist. If you can't tell, it's like it fall. I'm too skinny, this is my problem. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Miko and today I'd like to share with you 5 time management tips for college students. I was able to finish 1 major plus 2 minors during 4 years of college. Maybe not was because I'm graduating in May, so that's still not past tense. But it's happening soon. So without further ado, let's get right into these. First, you need to have a long-term plan. Yes, this sounds a little bit weird for time management tips because we usually perceive time management as more of a day-to-day activity. But having a long-time goal you want to achieve will really help you make sure that you are on the right track. For me personally, once I decided my major, I put together an Excel and planned what classes I need to take every single semester. For middle-grade students, besides our major requirements that we need to finish, we also have something called distribution requirements. I'm sure a lot of colleges have something similar to distribution requirements, and those requirements that are not within your major is something you should really think ahead. For example, I am molecular biology and biochemistry major, so for me, science requirements is something that I really don't need to think about because I'm taking science classes all the time. But a requirement like philosophy and religion is something I need to think ahead and look into to find the class I'm interested in and plan when I am going to take that class. So when you plan for your classes, I would also suggest you take in account of the workload of each class. Again, using myself as an example, the classes within my major usually come with labs. And I know, buy one get one free, huh? And these labs are 3-hour-long classes every week if you don't count the pre-lab sessions that sometimes it also take 1 hour at least. With my experience, most lab would also require you to go back to the lab outside of classes to finish the experiments, write up your reports, or update your lab notebooks. So I generally try to avoid taking 3 lab classes together in 1 semester. Even though sometimes I might be taking 2 lab classes, I try to diversify them. So for example, I do the combination of 1 biology plus 1 chemistry or 1 biology plus 1 physics. So I don't feel like I'm always in the lab for the same subject and I don't pipette 300 times a day. My second piece of advice is to visualize your schedule. This is something I learned when I was in freshman year and I set up a time management meeting with a professional from the CTLR from our college. Usually when a semester starts and I decided what class I want to take, I will sit down, grab all the syllabus from each of my classes, and plan out my semester using this form that our CTLR provides. So the idea is you will mark out all the big dates of your semester onto this piece of paper, including your assignment due date, your exam dates, your presentation date, your discussion leading, and also extracurricular activities. You might be thinking, how is this different from planning out my month in a monthly planner? Okay, here is why. Because you can see your whole semester. And that is very important. This method will really help you visualize what week is your whole week in the semester, and if there are too many things happening in the same week, you might want to plan ahead. Trick number 3, give yourself a timeline. Have you ever felt like you're most productive right before the deadline, especially when there's only 4 hours left and you have to hand in this 2-page paper and you somehow magically finish it even though it usually takes you 8 hours? This is true for a lot of people, including myself. I discovered something called the Parkinson's Law. It says, work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. This rule is usually used to describe bureaucracy growth in an organization, but here let's take its literal meaning. If you think, I am just going to write this paper until it's done, it is likely that this paper will end up taking more time than it actually needs. Giving yourself a timeline is usually a good way to deal with this problem. And instead of just telling myself that I will finish this paper in 2 hours, I usually plan something after that time block, such as a movie night, grabbing a meal with a friend, or mostly going to lab with my lab partner. Making appointments with others usually force me to stay focused and finish the task right in front of me. And trick number 4 is to break down your task. Usually when we set goals and milestones for ourselves, we tend to think about something that is longer term. Things like, I want to take A in my class, or I want to monetize my YouTube channel in a year. Goals like this are great because they keep you on track and you can constantly check if you're doing the right thing. But for these goals to happen, you actually need to break them down into smaller pieces. The same goes for plan your time in daily life. For example, when you're trying to finish assignment, Usually, if you set your goal for today as to finish my biology class paper, it seems very daunting because you don't know where to start. So break it down can really help if you start with doing the background research, read all the reference papers you're going to cite, finish your intro paragraph, summarize your table for results, and etc. The idea is that you take smaller steps one at a time so you will feel accomplished and motivated to keep going with your task. Tip number 5, plan time to rest. I know you're probably thinking this sounds ridiculous in a time management tip, but it is actually very important. Giving yourself time to rest, to breathe, and to catch up with friends and family is something we tend to forget when we get too busy. The point of planning time to rest is that so you can actually get the rest you need without feeling bad about it. Usually when I procrastinate, I will take a walk to my favorite cafe and grab a smoothie, which itself is not a bad thing. But because I was supposed to do my work during that time, I feel guilty about this. Instead, if I actually set myself a goal that I will take a break after 3 hours of work to my favorite cafe to grab a smoothie, I will actually feel accomplished and happy when I get my smoothie. And trust me, that smoothie tastes much better than your guilty smoothie. Speaking of rest, we must also mention sleep. Sleep is something college students tend to sacrifice to fulfill their academic and social life. We all know that sleep deprivation is not good for our health, and your mom probably already told you 1,000 times not to sleep late if your mom is like my mom. As a biology student, here I am providing you a little bit more evidence on why you should get enough sleep. Studies have looked into how sleep deprivation influences our body using subjects including college athletes. Not surprisingly, sleep deprivation has many negative effects, even if it's only for one night. Studies have shown that sleep deprivation leads to increased reaction time, decreased anaerobic performance, and even induced anxiety. Plus, there's also evidence linking sleep deprivation and the accumulation of beta amyloid protein in the brain in both human and rodent studies. Well, I think you get that message. However, I also wanted to remind you that sleep length needed for every single person is actually very different. You've probably seen a lot of videos and articles online talking about how getting up at 5 a.m. every single morning leads to a productive day. Well, this might be true for some of us. However, you are the person who knows your body the best. Instead of following someone else's advice, you should really listen to your body and figure out your own sleep schedule. If you guys are interested in the science of sleep, comment down below, let me know. I will make that video in the future. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below, let me know what videos you want to see next. Hit that like button for me, subscribe, and I will see you next Thursday. Bye bye! I mean, if I don't procrastinate.